What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Jay the Boss, aka the Boss Man. And today, I'll be reacting to top 10 scary nightmare stories. I know when I was like a couple years ago, I don't really watch scary movies and shit like that because, like a couple years ago, I saw this movie, Paranormal Activity, and all y'all know what I'm talking about too. That crazy ass movie, When I saw that shit for the first time, I couldn't sleep for fucking weeks, maybe even months. Pretty fucked up. But let's get straight to this video. You know what I'm saying? Shit, ain't trying to keep y'all waiting.
I hate nightmares. I still remember every single one I had when I was a kid. I think the only good thing about nightmares is that we all get to share them and compare the scariest ones. Well, I found 10 of the very scariest of all time. Don't say I didn't warn you. I'm Danny Burke, and this is the top 10 scary nightmare stories. At number 10 now, we have The Exorcism. This one comes from Reddit user Sleventine, who said that they dreamt they arrived at their psychology class a few minutes late. The lights were all off, except for a single projector. Everybody there was gathered around a table in the middle of the room that had a naked girl on it. She looked extremely ill. They walked to the table, and they realized the girl was possessed. She nearly folded herself in half while the teacher examined her and performed an actual exorcism. The girl...
What the fuck was... Oh, hell no. Bro, if I was to see some shit like that, I have to get the fuck on. I'll leave everybody else. Shit, you ain't catching me, bitch.
Shouting profanities the whole time in the devil's voice. She turned her head right around and started smiling at them. They woke up but then realized they were paralyzed, and then they saw the possessed girl on their own bedroom floor. She started saying things like, "Why are you watching me? What's so interesting? And are you scared?" All the while her head kept snapping in weird directions. They finally snapped out of it when they got out of bed and turned their light on, but sometimes they say they still think about it before bed. Okay, at number 9 now, we have The Other Me. Not My Throwaway Nope said that she had a dream where she was walking around her university, and as she passed through the crowds, she came across herself. Actually herself. It was someone who'd looked just like her, and they were just standing there. She tried to talk to her, but there was no response at all, just a blank expression. But then her face began to contort and her skin started sliding off until all that was left was a skull and dangling flaps of skin. She screamed and ran. The skeleton chased her and she yelled for help, but everybody else just stood and watched. Nobody said a word. She finally escaped, but then her phone started vibrating. She looked down and it was a call from her own phone number. She answered it, and all she heard on the other end was her own voice screaming in agony. As the phone hit the floor, she finally woke up. At number 8 now, Davey Wavy Baby said that one night he got really bad sleep paralysis. There was an old rocking chair in his room at the time, and as he fluttered between wake and sleep, he turned his head towards the chair. Sitting there was a woman, crying her eyes out, staring directly at him while she pulled her own insides out. She had grey skin and blonde hair. He tried closing his eyes to end it all, but then he felt a pressure on his chest. He opened his eyes to see her on his chest, pulling out his own guts while she kept crying and staring right into his eyes. Okay, at number 7 now, Emperor Tiberius 08 said that when they were 8 years old, they dreamt they were attending a funeral with their family. They were all standing around an empty casket, and he asked his auntie what was going on. She looked at him confused and said, "Don't you know? It's for you. You have a terminal illness, and the doctor said you will be dead by now, so we had all of this arranged. We've spent too much money on it now. We have to bury you today." He immediately ran away until he got to a cliff and started climbing down it. There, he met one of his own childhood friends who calmed him down and told him it's all going to be okay because they are going to die anyway. They climbed back up the cliff, and their family closed the coffin on him, waking him up from the nightmare. Okay, at number 6 now, we have The Breeze. One Redditor shared a story about a waking nightmare they kept having. Their eyes would flutter open and they would be staring at one side of their room. They would feel someone blowing on the back of their neck, and they would start...
Bro, my mom was calling me, and as I was looking at her, see what she wanted and shit, that shit popped up out of nowhere, bro. Hell no. That's crazy, bro. Oh, shit.
Freaking out because they know that they locked their door that night. There should be nobody there. They roll over and face the other way, but they feel that same blowing on the back of their neck again. They roll over again, and suddenly they are face to face with a mysterious, dark, hooded figure. When they try and scream, the figure snaps into the air and quickly floats backwards into their closet, where it sits there, staring out at them until they fall back asleep. Coming out number 5 now, we have Kermit the Monster. This one is just straight up psychotic. Reddit user Bina said they had a nightmare where they walked into their grandma's kitchen and she was on the floor. Now, to their horror, they realized the grandma was severed in half at the waist. She was bleeding and yelling. They look up, and there on the side of the kitchen is Kermit the Frog. He has huge legs and he's standing next to a massive boiling pot. Inside of it are the grandma's legs. He turns around and looks them right in the eyes, and with a bloody grin he says, "We're having grandma's legs tonight." And then he just keeps on laughing and laughing while the grandma screams out in pain. That is one of the most messed up things I've ever heard. Okay, at number 4 now, we have Look After Her. Ian Spencer said that he has a recurring dream where he's in a dark field with a tree at the other end of it. As he walks towards the tree, he sees a young girl standing at the base of it. He gets closer, and then he notices she is covered in gruesome scars and blood from head to toe. The closer he gets, the more...
What type of fucking nightmares are these? What the fuck, bro?
More blood and more scars appear, and then she makes eye contact with him and starts screaming that it's all his fault. She chases him back across the field, but when he gets to where he started from, he finds her parents. They are both standing there holding each other, and they too are covered in blood and scars. They open their mouths and say, "All you had to do was look after her." And then he wakes up. Okay, moving on to number 3 now, we have tentacles. One Reddit user said they dreamt they were lying in bed when their feet started to itch. Suddenly, the skin started bubbling and spots began to appear. The spots grew and grew and filled with pus, and then they realized they were growing into big, slimy tentacles. Yeah, 10, 15, 20, about 30 of them in the end, and they were painful. Each one kept thrashing about, and then suddenly they died and dried out into just dead scabs. They felt like burnt wood and were still attached to their feet. They woke up with a gasp, but said they could still feel the tentacles there for the next 2 days. Okay, at number 2 now, we have the Easter Bunny. One Redditor said they dreamt the Easter Bunny would chase them around their town with big pink ears and a huge grin. They'd run around the town trying to hide from him, but he would always catch them and tickle them. Apparently, it was painful tickling. Then he would just let them go and they would hide again. Each time he would find them and tickle even harder. The Easter Bunny caught them one last time and then tickled them harder than ever. They tried to scream for them to stop, but they couldn't, and they were eventually tickled to death. Yeah, I mean, that one might be a little bit funny if it wasn't so horrifying. And finally, number 1 now, one Redditor said they had a dream that they were running across a frozen over ocean filled with human corpses. Suddenly, they heard a very loud shriek. They turned around to find themselves face to face with a skeletal, flaming llama. That's a llama skeleton on fire, I guess. It slowly walked up to them, melting the ice around it, and whispered slowly in their ear, "Time to join the others." Presumably, they meant the ocean of frozen corpses below them. It then screamed and chased them for the rest of the nightmare. Apparently, the scariest part of this was that it had Morgan Freeman's voice. Weird. Well, I hope you guys sleep well tonight. I hope none of you are watching this at night before you go to bed. Let me know if you are. You're kind of crazy. My name is Danny Burke. Thanks for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Hey, man. That shit was creepy, man. Bro. That shit was crazy. These nightmares. I could share y'all a nightmare I had. Shit, let's make this a 2-minute nightmare special. You know what I'm saying? So, this one night, while I was about 11, 12, one of these. Yeah, one of those. I was in my bed, you know. It was about 11 o'clock at night. I went to sleep. I had a dream that this, yeah, have you ever seen Dead Silence? The dummy on Dead Silence, like, doing this shit. Like this shit right here. So I had a dream that this nigga, like I was just walking through this hallway, and he had popped up out of nowhere, and scared the fuck out of me. But I started running, and the nigga was coming behind me. But the worst part is, this nigga was doing this while chasing my ass and running like one of these shits. Never again am I watching movies of scary puppets and shit ever again. Come to find out when I woke up, my sister was right in front of me, scared the living fuck out of me. But shit, that's besides all that shit. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Smash that subscribe button. We on the road to 200 subs. You know what I'm saying? And the link for my gaming channel will be down below. And you know, be safe out there and keep it classy. And I'll see y'all Negroes in the next video. Yeah.